07 Star Citizens. This video is about the question whether Star Citizen is a game for you and whether it is something you can consider to pledge for. So here is a couple of thoughts, things and suggestions and experience that I'm having that I would like to share with you. Star Citizen is a space simulation, a sandbox space simulation MMO in an alpha state. Currently, you can run 100 people on one server, and it is one of the biggest crowdfunding campaigns that has been launched so far, and it is very successfully since years when it comes to that. It is continuously in development and improvements, and everything whichever you see at the current state is up to change. The vision of this product, of this game that wants to come out, is absolutely huge. It's so big, it's hard to grasp what we actually will get in the very end, if there is such a thing as an end, as it tries to simulate a whole universe. So basically, we're building a matrix here. Well, that's the vision. Okay, so some people even say, when there are other gaming companies say it's impossible what it wants to do. I mean, all this server meshing on a level that it hasn't been done so far. We are aware other games do server meshing. There are games who have a massive amount of players in them, but it's not server meshing on that scale that what we actually going to experience, and seamless. So there will be no loading screens and no plays. And these are just only two of the bigger challenges that this game's has to tackle. Is as well that it is a persistent universe. So this means what's in the universe stays in the universe. Okay, it's not just gonna disappear at any moment in time as you see another thing. So there is a lot of stuff to tackle, and it makes it actually so big. And yeah, people saying it's not possible, and I know a very known proverb from around here that says, "Those who say it's impossible shall please not disturb those who are actually making it happen." For now in the game we have a couple of professions roles which you can go for, so called game loots. So this is bounty hunting, mercenary, delivery, trade, mining, salvage, medical gameplay, NFL, piracy, and the security around the piracy. More is to become. You see a lot more on the roadmap that is openly to found in there. There is about data running, exploration, and a lot of more different loops gonna be in the game. We have far over 100 ships already that you can buy, pledge for. You can pledge them in with real money, or you can buy most of them in-game. Usually the very newest releases of ships are first only to buy in real life. Of course, the game needs to be funded, and as being part of this alpha state and part of pledging, you're part of the crowdfunding. And this is one part that is really crucial to understand. You're not buying a game. That's why I actually chose this title is Star Citizen for you, and not shall I buy Star Citizen or something like this, because you're not buying a game, you are pledging, and the pledge means that you're participating in this crowdfunding, and this means that you are part of the alpha testing, by the way. So this whole pledge, the buy-in price you're having to get the base game and one ship, is making you eligible to be part and participate in the alpha testing. Okay, so you're not buying a game right now. Okay, you make yourself eligible to be participating in the alpha testing, and that's what you're doing. And so here's another thing. So this game is not complete. We're still in, what is it, chapter. So it is not complete. There are bugs, there are issues, there are challenges, things need to change. The update, the community gives feedbacks, different levels of tester give feedbacks, and things gonna move and change according to what CIG sees has the next priority in order to make the game as movable as possible. So consider that and be aware when you look up at it. You need to be ready to test things out, to give feedback. There is a whole issue council, and it's really needed that if you face challenges that you actually write them down, so CIG is aware of it and can change it. Okay, so then can start to fix it. And of course, there is a whole process on how that works. It needs a couple of people reconfirming and confirming that this bug or issue that you're facing is occurring for them as well. So they know it's not just a solo thing. So it's more people than they have, and then they can fix it. So this really means, yeah, you have a voice in this game. Okay, so you can bring in your stuff. You bring in, say what's not working and what's supposed to be differently, and then it can be fixed. There is a whole place for suggestions. And of course, I mean, in the end, it's the CIG Chris Roberts vision that wants to get into it, and of course we have some sort of talk onto it, but in the end we follow through what he wants. That's, if you want a totally different game, you might should start create your own little game, and yeah, and seeing all those issues and things, keep in mind, programming games is the top level of programming. There is nothing above it when it comes to the skills that are needed and the ideas, the challenges, the problem solving. It's really the top level of programming. So this is definitely one of the most hard. Maybe cybersecurity can get in a different challenge, but there is more to find the leak. So it's a different problem solving attitude, but still it's one of the most challenging and most difficult things to work on. So keep that in mind. Who is this game for? For me personally, I'm a space simulation enthusiast. I look for the most realistic gameplay to be out in space and fly spaceships. That's what I want to do. I want it to be as immersive as possible, so I definitely fly with hoses sticks, as it just adds to the experience. And this is really my main wish, and that's why StarCitizen is just perfect for me, because it gives me all of that. An absolutely beautifully immersive gameplay and amazing graphics, and it works. It does really. When I started playing the game, it was a lot more difficult, and when I speak to those people that are in our org, for example, that are playing since almost the very beginning of it, they say it was very different back then, and they still here after more than 10 years of development. So just consider that. So what you see right now is a very playable game. It's always the question with what you're comparing things, and so if you're really into that, that's a thing to consider as well for being a StarCitizen. And what you learned so far by me laying out this is a crowdfunding game, there is money involved for being part in this game. So like in every game, you start an initial amount of money. Here it's different. You're pledging, as I explained before, and it starts somewhere with $45, like the cheapest way to get in. And it can go up to many $1,000 if you want to. So be aware of that. I mean, don't spend any money into this game that at first you don't have. Okay? And the other thing that you're not willing to invest, because remember, it's an investment. So, and an old investment rule is don't invest more than you're actually willing to lose. Hold that up in your soul, because everything can go down the drain at any point. Always. Not only this game, pretty much. There is no safety and security and for surety in anything. So keep that in mind, okay? You are responsible of what you're putting in. Nobody tells you what you have to do. You need this initial starting, and after that you can get pretty much any ship in-game. The very latest new release usually are just able to buy with real money, with hard dollars, but everything else you can go for in-game and set your goals and make the money to get there. This is very important, okay? It's up to you whether you put real money in this game or how much real money to put into this game. So if you're not sure about the money or whether you like simulations, test the free flight weeks. They're usually about 4 to 5 throughout the year to be able to get a glimpse and see for yourself and make a decision. Well, let's get on to statistics. When I look at my YouTube channel and I see who is actually watching which equally goes down who is actually playing these games. It's a mostly male audience, which is common for computer games. And the age range is somewhere between 25 and 50. We have a couple above, a small percentage, and a very, very small percentage below the age of 25. And this derives definitely because you need a high-end computer. So for an example, I'm running here a GeForce RTX 3080, 10 gigabytes RAM. It has an Intel i9 11th generation and 32 gigabytes of RAM and SSD that is really needed to play this game. Just to give you an idea of the specs that I'm having. So it's the latest computer. I bought it about 2 years ago, so it's a good computer and it works all very smoothly and I have a very decent gameplay with it that you actually can do it. So you need to be able to afford hardware and gear onto a certain point, and this assumes as well that, yeah, that's maybe as well adding to the idea why there is an older, let's consider it a slightly older people that are actually playing this. Which adds as well that we have a couple of brilliant and really good organizations around with a lot of very decent people. It's good fun to play with. Of course, you have always this very small percentage of trolls that you're having, but you got that everywhere. And they just make a lot of noise. That's why it feels there's so many. But in the end, we have absolutely amazing community here. So the other thing that you really would like to do for being part of StarCitizen, it is an MMO, so it is really, well, from my perspective, it's really laid out to play together with friends and other people, with your organizations, and it's really possible to play with a lot of people. And I think this is to hold on to at some point, because it's totally doable playing it solo. It is. There is a lot of things you can go solo. There is a couple of very good ships that totally fine for solo playing, and the fun enters when you start collaborating and doing the stuff together. Especially in this state where there is not so much content yet. So there is not yet that huge amount of missions and things that can be done. So going out solo, it can get very repetitive. I know there's some people just out for the money grind. I personally don't grind. I set aims, set goals, what I want to get in game, and then I go for it. But I try not to grind. I'm not always going the most efficient way. I want to play a simulation, and I want to enjoy that. So what to expect within the next few years? We are all waiting, and we're waiting for a long time to have another system. Currently you only have one system. It's standard where you fly around. It has a couple of planets. It has different companies that running those planets, and there are things you can do for and with or against those companies, for and with other players, in many different ways. And with StarCitizen patch 4.0 we will get Pyro. We already had a technical preview onto that. This is gonna be a huge system. It will be about 2 or 3 times bigger than Stanton is, with a lot more planets, a lot more contents inside. And one of the main difference in Pyro will be that there is absolutely unsurveilled airspace. So this is basically a totally law-free, anarchistic zone. So a lot of PvP will happen there. So this is really a next step to go in for, and of more further testing, so more system then can be implemented and added to the game. As we still remember, we're still in the alpha state, that you understand the alpha state as is still a place where you add content. Okay, so there's still more content to be added, whether than a beta state is polishing the content that has been added so that it's getting finalized and then can be released. Another thing to be expected within that is more gameplay loots, exploration, data running, data hasting, a lot of more things that you can do, more ships that will have all these parts implemented. We have a couple of ships that already have those exploration tools inbuilt. If you look at the Karak or a Terrapin or the Cutter Scout, of course, is where you start a ship for a little amount of money, where you can go for and start with to see and do things, but the exploration game itself, so the whole cartography things you will be able to do around that. Is it for jump points, for geographical sites, for points of interests, for bunkers, layouts, and sites, and all this is not here yet. It's to come. The other thing that is to expected, and you saw that definitely on StarCitizen, and if not, go and watch this movie, the seamless transition they want to implement into our star maps. And you see how this moves in and out very smoothly. It will be more time. This is going in. There is an aim to implement quite a couple of things within the next 12 months. Well, this was back as CitizenCon was 12 months, so it's like 11 months. Remember, it's an aim. So what does it mean? An aiming is when you do project work and you create project, and you ever worked in this creative fields of creating things and making things possible. You understand there is an aim. An aim means that's what you assume that is possible to do within that time range. It doesn't mean you know that it's possible to do, because there is always unknown circumstances and stuff that comes in. I mean, it's a similar thing when you go for holidays. You have an aim, what you want to do there. And yeah, there might be bad weather and you can't do it. Okay, so that's just perfectly normal in life, that you set your goals, you set your aims, and then you see how to get there and what's needed that it actually can be get there. But there is a big chance that you can't get there in that time, because new stuff's come up. I mean, we had this at some point there was a whole different graphic engine needed, and of course this is a throwback. A lot of stuff needs to be changed and brought forward differently so that this can be implemented and done. Okay, so just don't expect these dates as promises, or that's what you said, so you have to do it. This is not, I think DG360 placed it now. It's not, you're not children sitting in the back seat of a car and asking, are we there yet? Okay, so that's really pointless on when it comes to project developments, because projects do not work like this. And if you ever had a job in that, you will understand. And if not, well, that's how it is everywhere and in any project. Okay, so this is to be expected as well. Delays are to be expected. We have this beautiful roadmap. I really love to get my Apollo. There is some entry in the roadmap about this, and that is going to be this December. The chance that it actually is within the next 17 days is very little. Okay, so you can, yeah, just expect it. So you don't need to get mad about it or disappointed. Well, you can always. It's up to you what you want to do with your emotions. But I just suggest to move it with it differently. And of course, I'm holding the expectation that these aims are met, but it doesn't mean that I get stubborn about it, because there is no point in doing it. So what you need to expect is that you're asked to be very, very resilient. And not only when it comes to the development, but as well when you play the game with people. Okay? Because there are many different roles you can play, many different ways to play an MMO. As a sandbox MMO invites you to create in-game content as well. And as an example, we have absolutely amazing pirates in this game that are so fun to play with. If you understand how piracy works and as well used to work. I know many people have this idea from movies and videos that pirates are these bloodthirsty people that just kill everybody on their way. It never was that way, because killing someone doesn't give you the same amount of money as holding ransom. I recommend you to learn to negotiate with pirates. And in the best case, you might even be able to learn from them and train them. You get good tips and suggestions. I had the opportunity to train with a couple of very, very good pirate pilots, and that's amazing. I didn't have as much time in the last few weeks, but this was of the bigger learnings from me. So find people that are better to you, so you can learn and become better in the game. That's another thing that I recommend, and I suggest, yeah, you need to expect that this is needed for most of us. to sum up what I've seen in this game since Release 13, becoming a current concierge by myself, over time, this is a very ambitious project. It's huge, it's big, and there were challenges, there are challenges, and there will be challenges. And so far, they tackled them well. And yes, more work needs to be done. So another thing that you need to be able to is holding the big picture of this game and understanding why it takes as long as it takes. And if you don't have the programmers or game designer background, understand that those people who are doing that, they have that. And I personally, I just do trust that they know what they're doing. And so far I see that they know what they are doing. And I train myself in being patient and appreciative for what I get. And I try to be as good of a contributor as I can be to support the development of this game. So this is another thing that you need to be willing to step forward to and say yes to, okay? As you are part of the development, as you are testing this game, and you make it possible to happen by adding by pledging, adding money, so this game is funded, because yeah, of course people don't work for free. I don't. I assume you as well are not working for free. And that's the thing. So there is a lot of things you need to be willing to do, and that's why I'm actually laying it out, because there are a lot of misconceptions, misunderstandings out there, and I try to clean up with them a little bit and add a perspective how to look at it. So this is my seeings, my offerings on that game, and how I'm dealing with the challenging situations, because yes, I get frustrated as well of this game every now and then, and then it's as well just a good moment to turn it off and do something differently. Go out, go for a walk, have some fun times, talk something else. And this is a good place to go for. This is just a game, which is not just a game. It's an absolutely fantastic ideas and a beautiful thing to go for. Currently, there is no game like StarCitizen out there. No other reaches that level of quality and content and player base as this game. So I hope this time that we spent together here, you listening to this video, helped you to get clearer. And I recommend you to watch for others and more content creators about this game to give you more information and details. You can always ask questions in the comment sections. And if you're wanting to join, please use my referral code. It gives you additional 5k AUEC to start with and an armor. And I get a beautiful armor too. I hope I see you in the verse. 07 Citizen.